do have experience and know-how they would like to share, specifically in securing the high-protein food, providing to less fortunate groups, which would benefit, of course, from this initiative.
The project is home to 3 different types of insects. Mealworms from the facility are distributed to smallholder farmers across Kenya. The Chief Executive Officer, InsectiPro Talash Hujbaz, terms it as an alternative to meat.
We started to see there are a lot of problems with meat, there are a lot of problems with eggs, a lot of problems with omena, and we thought if we can grow insects, crickets and mealworms in a clean environment, then we're providing a clean alternative to protein. And we're not saying that eat this every day or replace your nyama choma, but this can be a part of your diet towards achieving better human nutrition.
The Slovak envoy noted the need for availability of protein options as populations cope with global warming.
We'll focus the discussion on the connection between, of course, environmental aspects and the food security. Each of the projects Slovakia is providing to Kenya have the horizontal priority, and it is the adaptation to the consequences of climate crisis.
And they will really contribute to this food security, not only in Kenya, but I'm sure soon in Europe and everywhere in the world, because we need to find solutions.
Another project supported by the Slovak Republic in Kenya is located at the coast region, where more than 1.5 million cashew nut trees are currently being exported to Europe or sold to the local markets.
And this is the time when we have received some knowledge sharing and helped us to develop in a specific sphere more effectively and fast. And this is what we would like to offer Kenya as well.
Projects as this one, as many other projects that we have that the ambassador already mentioned, are just the beginning, and there is much potential and prospects for other projects, and I'm sure that in the very near future, also because of the visit that we're doing now, we will have much more of these projects.
Investors in the renewable energy sector are being urged to embrace human rights assessment as a guiding tool against human rights abuse and future conflict. Kenya National Human Rights Central Regional Coordinator Ruth Gibatai says many adverse impacts on people and communities caused by renewable energy arise from conflict over land, since large utility-scale wind and solar generation requires large parcels of land. If started on the right foot, the coordinator says the welfare of the community and the economy will be secured.
Also need to respect the rights of communities. So the projects being implemented, are they complying with the human rights of their workers, the people working for those companies first, and also the communities surrounding those companies?
Tungependa kuona ya kwamba jamii inahusishwa na masuala yote ambayo yanahusiana na haki ya kibinadamu.
In other news, the government has been called upon to seal the existing gaps in the education sector to promote equity and access to education. Education working groups under the banner East Africa Philanthropy Network say that most policies promote equality rather than equity, which has inconvenienced many learners, especially from underprivileged backgrounds and marginalized communities.
Flat rate capitation, education scholarships, new funding model for higher education, gender education for learners living with disabilities, and categorization of secondary schools are some of the gaps that have been identified as promoters of equality rather than equity in education.
Schools that are poor will continue to be poorer under this model. Children that are left behind will continue to fall further behind because the others are moving faster. So when you look at the pace of moving forward, the ones who are at the back are moving slower than the ones at the front, and which means equity gaps continue to widen from this financing model. This classification of national, extra-county, and all that up to sub-county has actually been a systemic driver of inequity.
According to East Africa Philanthropy Network Chief Executive Officer Evans Okinyi, education will be an equalizer if the existing gaps are sealed through a multi-agency approach that is involving the government, private sector, and civil society.
That can only happen if we come into a room like this as peers, whether it's from the government, the agenda is one, Whether it's from the private sector, the agenda is one. Whether it's from the non-governmental organizations, the agenda is one. And that agenda is to provide and ensure that the country really provides basic quality education to our children so that we can sustain the future generation.
They further added that learning should incorporate innovation in a bid to ensure that learners meet the job market requirements in the evolving world.
And the realm of education is continuously changing and changing. You can see now we are at the KBC, presenting both challenges and opportunities.
Parsai Frederick, Lunchtime News.
Members of the Tigania community in Isiolo County have expressed dissatisfaction with the pace of the recovery of the 1,000 herds of cattle stolen by raiders along the Isiolo-Meru border. The residents are accusing a section of security officers of dragging their feet in efforts to ensure that the animals are brought back and the criminals apprehended. They have challenged Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki to swiftly deploy adequate resources and personnel to aid in the recovery efforts.
Kwa sababu kuna wakati waziri wa Interior Bwana Kithure Kindiki alikuwa Isiolo hapa, na kuna baadhi ya viongozi wa ward 3 ambazo ni za hapa Isiolo, na walipeana muda wa wiki 2 watoe wezi wale ambao wanaiba ng'ombe hapa Isiolo, na kuliko watoe wezi washikwa wapelekwa kwa polisi, walitoa wezi wakaenda kuibia watu wetu ng'ombe. Kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali ya county na serikali ya national government, mahali tumesikia ng'ombe zetu ziko, ziende zitolewe, na hiyo ndio tutakuwa na amani.
And on to education matters, at least 10% of learners in Kajiado North Sub-County who sat for last year's KCPE exams are set to benefit from bursaries worth 44 million shillings courtesy of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, KT. Now, speaking during the issuance of bursaries to needy high schools and other tertiary education institutions, Kajiado North Area Member of Parliament Onesimus Ngogoyo said the high number of applicants points to the fact that many parents are unable to pay school fees for their children.
Tumefanya application, tumefanya vetting, na vetting ni kusema tumechuja wale ambao si wa constituency hii, wale ambaye ni wanashida, na tumeweza kukagua process ambayo inafanywa na wananchi wenyewe, alafu kisha sisi tunapeana. Tofauti na mara nyingine watu walikuwa wanapewa shilingi 3,000, sasa sisi tunawapatia shilingi 5,000 ambayo ni pesa inaweza kuwasukuma term nzima na kiasi kidogo, alafu wanaweza kujiongezea zingine. Pia tumeweza kupatia scholarship watoto wachache wale ambao wamelemewa shilingi 10,000 in their day schools, ambaye tunaita partial scholarship, kumaanisha kwa mwaka mzima tunaweza kuweka kwa shule pembe wajitafutie chakula na vitu zingine.
Ombi yangu ni serikali tuongeze basari ikuwe na kiwango ya juu, at least tunaweza kulipa.
Communities living around Oto Forest on the boundary of Marsabit and Samburu counties have embarked on a noble exercise to restore the degraded forest through planting indigenous trees. The forest that is the source of Ngorunit River has in the past been neglected, leading to deforestation.
Sana na tukapata chemichemi ya maji ambao wanyama binadamu wanatumia katika njia ya kupatia wanyama wao, na pia kupanda kitu kama mboga. Lakini mimea tunayopanda ama miti tunazopanda ndio inasaidia kwa tabia nchi.
Tukipanda mti ni kitu ambayo tuna fight mambo ya climate change, na kwa wamama sana inatusaidia kwa sababu tukipanda miti inatupatia tuwe na medicinal, ile indigenous trees, indigenous knowledge ile tulikuwa tunatumia hata zamani. Watoto wakiwa wagonjwa unaweza enda kwa miti na utoe na upatie mtoto hata dawa na mtoto aweze kupona.
Migori County Commissioner David Gitonga has assured Migori residents of their safety amid concerns of a gas distributing company operating a residential area. Gitonga says the gas company is legally in operation and proper security measures are in place. Gitonga said the facility is purely a distribution point and no refilling of gas is taking place.
Around these are school, these are hotel, and also members of the community. So we made a decision to visit without notice, and we've confirmed that there is no gas refilling point in this area, that they have all the requisite documentation.
Now, spouse to the Deputy President, Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, has promised to kick off a widow empowering project in Kilifi County through her Mama Boys, Widows and Orphans program. Speaking after meeting a group of widows in Gedem, Malindi Sub-County, Pastor Dorcas said she has identified an investor who will help the widows to earn from the conservation of mangroves at Meadow Creek.
1,600 already seated and others are still walking in. As a country, as a county, this is something we need to rethink and know exactly what is happening to our men.
Hawa wana shida ya kupata chakula, ni visual social. Chakula kwa hizi nyumba za hawa wengi wao ni shida. Kusomesha watoto pia ni shida. Hata nyumba ile anaishi pia ni nini? Ni shida.
Nikipenda kuzungumza na ukweli kwamba ujane haupaswi kumaanisha umasikini, na kama viongozi wanawake tunafaa kuwawezesha wanawake ambao kwa hakika ndio nyenzo inayoweka jamii pamoja.
A non-governmental organization has begun a sensitization forum in Migori County on the boundary delimitation, expected to be conducted by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Now speaking in Migori County, Ken Okoth, an IEBC official, said that the move will ensure the community gets the right and accurate information on the review of boundaries. He said the sensitization will also avert conflict.
Us or mandates us to listen to stakeholders and make decisions depending on what they want and not what the commission actually wants. It is people-driven. The process of delimitation is people-driven, not commission-driven. We only facilitate.
We have met different stakeholders, leaders who have diverse influences on different people, and our main purpose of this meeting was to disseminate the boundary delimitation process, which is spearheaded by IEBC in Kenya. Our intention is that they are able to roll that information, they are able to roll that messaging down to communities that they have influence over.
Still in Migori County, 2 members of the County Assembly have been temporarily suspended from their positions for a duration of 2 months, allegedly due to their intention to present a report on the misappropriation of funds within the Assembly. North Kadem Ward Representative Olima Obonyo and his counterpart from East Kanyamkago Ward, Norman Ogola, claimed that their suspension is as a result of their investigations into the utilization of public funds by both the County Assembly and the executive branch.
We requested some document from the control of budget, and they were aware that these informations were already given out and we had them. So on that day, we were targeted and they didn't want us to speak. That is why when Olima rose on a point of order, when he started mentioning the key issues pertaining to the documents we acquired, the Speaker decided to stop him and procedurally.
I want to make it clear that the suspension was in the first case very illegal because we have House rules, we have outstanding orders, and we also have the Constitution that guides on how you can suspend an honorable member from plenary.
Well, that report brings us to our first break here on Lunchtime News. Don't go too far, we still have more news coming up.
How do you say welcome in your language?
No. So today we're making egusi soup with goat's meat.
As we allow our egusi to boil, you said it's going to take about 5 minutes and it's looking so good. I love the color from the palm oil.
We're practically done with mixing it.
Eunice, thank you so much for coming all the way and teaching us how to make egusi soup, the traditional Igbo way. I love it.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who's the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevaa kichwani.
Sio wakati tulikuwa tunaapishwa tukapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1. We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome back. This is Lunchtime News. Now, let's take a look at some of the news making headlines in the business news now. LG Electronics plans to foster the professional growth of university students in Kenya through guidance on career paths and opportunities in both local and international markets. A team from the company has held an excursion at Kenyatta University where they offered students insights into practical work experiences as well as the work environment of Korean companies.
During a special visit to LG's offices in Nairobi by students from the Korean language and culture of the Kenyatta University.
We are trying to work with professors and the university administration, especially in the mechanical departments, to ensure that the students, before they come out of college, they are well trained and they are well aware and informed of air conditioning and HVAC.
The excursion aimed to bolster the interest in Korean companies among the participating students, thus inspiring and motivating intermediate learners who aspire to pursue careers within Korean corporations to delve deeper into learning the Korean language.
We are going to have an elaborate engagement and relationship building between the learning institution and the corporation, that is LG Corporation, to ensure that as a CSR, we are impacting on the lives of the young and upcoming professionals from our institution.
The event was a platform for the students to witness how different teams work together to deliver unparalleled experiences for consumers of its products in Kenya. Edna Murungi for Lunch.
In other news, Turkana County Government has rolled out a groundnut seed distribution in efforts to boost production and address acute malnutrition. Food and Agriculture Organization Turkana Cluster Manager Ambrose Ngetich says the region is suitable for large-scale groundnut production.
During a flagging off of 7 metric tons of groundnuts, Turkana County Director of Agriculture said a study by the Egerton University conducted in Turkana County shows that the region is suitable for large-scale production of groundnuts for commercial purposes.
First season, we realized 6.3 metric tons, which was sold to Egerton University for more seed multiplication, or what we term as the seed bulking. The second season, we were able to produce 9.2 metric tons that were sold to our buyer, who is in this case Inista.
Nanok says the production of groundnut in Turkana is supported by the Food and Agriculture Organization to address cases of acute malnutrition, as well as boosting food security for households.
And in the process of utilizing it, the under 5, the most vulnerable in the household, that is the under 5 lactating women, are now getting the protein.
It's also supposed to really guide in the production of nutritious foods and also managing the livelihoods of the communities.
Microsoft has announced an artificial intelligence framework which seeks to govern how the company will operate its AI data center infrastructure and other important AI assets across the world. Microsoft President and Vice President Chair Brad Smith says the company seeks to advance responsible AI adoption and protect cybersecurity to support network operators. Here are the details of these and other stories making headlines across the globe.
World Mobile Congress, which is one of the largest and most influential connectivity events in the world, entered its third day with announcements and negotiations on emerging new technologies, including AI taking center stage. Microsoft President and Vice Chair Brad Smith announced a framework called AI Access Principles, which the company is investing $5.6 billion in new AI data center and new AI scaling programs to help advance responsible AI adoption and protect cybersecurity. Smith emphasized the need to advance a broad array of AI partnerships through collaborations.
Tools are you going to use Microsoft to govern it? Yeah. And so what we've said, what we're launching here at Barcelona at the Mobile World Congress is a set of AI access principles. Fundamentally, it says we are not just building this for ourselves. We are making it accessible.
Meanwhile, Apple has reportedly cancelled its plans to build electric vehicles a decade after the iPhone maker was rumored to be working on the project. Many employees from the project will be moved to the iPhone maker's artificial intelligence division. The Apple Car team was reportedly known as the Special Projects Group as part of its chief executive Tim Cook's Project Titan. As it spent billions of dollars on research and development, the company was initially rumored to be working on a fully autonomous vehicle without a steering wheel and pedals. Elsewhere, Polish farmers staged a new round of protests in the capital Warsaw, reiterating their opposition to European Union policies related to agriculture, following as part of similar demonstrations which have been sweeping across Europe. The ongoing demonstrations in Poland mirror those being seen in several other European countries, where farmers have expressed their concerns in large numbers. The protests also include those from neighboring countries who came to support Polish farmers and raise awareness of their own plight, with many concerned about how Ukrainian imports are gaining an advantage as they are not subject to the restrictions or standards imposed on other nations by the European Union. Frederick Mwoki for Lunchtime News.
And now we cross over to Mombasa County, where the construction industry in focus conference is currently underway, where construction industry players have converged to deliberate issues affecting the industry. And now we shall be joining our reporter O'Brien Kimani for an updated report on day 3 of the conference. O'Brien.
Many thanks, Jacqueline Wambiru, back there in Broadcasting House. Yes, and indeed, I mean, we've been here for the last 3 days talking about how to secure the construction industry with a key focus on the built environment. Remember, since 2018, there has been 69 fatalities due to collapsing buildings in this country. And this culture cannot continue, and that's why the government has been very keen to try and bring to a stop these menace. Remember, in 2015, the government formed the National Buildings Inspectorate with a mandate to go around the country and, of course, confirm the integrity of all buildings in this country. Well, this inspectorate team has been going around the country, and so far they have visited 27 counties, and their plan is to ensure that they go to all the 47 counties in the country. So they still have about 20 counties before they complete the assignment. What have they discovered so far? What is the status of our built environment in this country? What changes are needed to bring some level of sanity into this critical sector? Engineer Samuel Charagu is a secretary to the National Buildings Inspectorate. He is here at the coast. He's joining me now so that he can give me more updates on their discovery when they've been walking or touring the country. Please, Tim, you can just join me here on the set. Engineer Charagu, thank you very much indeed for your time. First of all, give us an overview of what you have discovered so far.
Thank you, and Kenya, thank you. We have been able to visit about 27 counties, and out of our visit, we have conducted what we call building inspection and audit, of both public and private buildings. So far, from that 2015, we have audited 20,103 buildings in the country.
20,000?
20,103 buildings. Mm-hmm. And out of that, we have 927 that are declared dangerous or unsafe. But from that time, 2015, we've been able to test some of those buildings and advise the owners to rectify. About 205 have been rectified. Around 64 have collapsed on their own, including the latest one at the pier in Kirinyaga. Mm-hmm. And then we have about 117 that have been demolished either by the government or by the owners. Mm-hmm. So currently we have about 600 that are still dangerous in different counties, and we've been able to follow up with the county governments on how we can deal with those kind of structures that are there. Mm-hmm. The government has also instructed that we need to remove some of those structures that have been found dangerous for the sake of saving lives of the Kenyans. And
mm-hmm.
Yes.
So when you talk about over 600 buildings being unsafe for occupation,
yes,
are they under occupation?
Some are not, because people have been removed by the county government and the national police, because we collaborate as a multi-sector agency. So the ones we marked as dangerous, we are now to liaise with the county government so that they can be able to follow them up. And some I know they have been evacuated in different counties, mm-hmm. and the county governments are watching over that, including the national government, our national government administrative officers, the county commissioners. They have been working on them so that nobody can enter those buildings, so that we don't have casualties.
Do you have any idea how many have been evacuated and what is happening to the ones that are yet to be evacuated?
Country, the few I know is almost about 200 that evacuated. Mostly some are in Huruma, in Nairobi and Mathare, and we have some others in Kakamega which have been evacuated. We have some few in Nakuru and some others in Mombasa, mm-hmm. which have been evacuated. Yes.
The ones that have not been evacuated, I mean, isn't this then a disaster that is waiting to happen?
Yes, it's just a disaster, but we have been liaising with the county government so that they can be able to work on them and see what can be done. They have the report which you have given to them, and they are under the leadership of the county executive county committee member in charge of physical planning. They have those reports from the national government, and they have the list of those buildings which they're supposed to be checking.
I mean, your mandate is to go around the country and audit all buildings in Kenya.
Yes.
Is that possible?
It's not possible with the personnel, but what we do, as per the Constitution of 2010, Schedule 4, Part 32, we're supposed to do capacity building for the county. And that's what we have been doing. When you go to the county, we sit together with the technical staff. We take them through the processes of building inspection and audit, so they are able to carry out their work by themselves. And we have done that in the 27 counties, and we have several people who have been trained on the same, in line with the Constitution.
Help us understand this. I mean, every year you have about 5,000 licenses for new projects being issued by the National Construction Authority. When you add these with the existing buildings, is it practically possible, honestly, to audit all buildings in this country?
It's not possible, but if with the county government, it is possible because they can be able to involve the professionals who are at that county and give them the work in a private capacity as consultants to do that. But as a national government, because it's our mandate to make sure our lives are saved, we do all we can to manage that. But we may not, we cannot, because we need a huge personnel, and currently we are recruiting so that we can at least help the counties to achieve their goal.
Apart from auditing, you also talked about you have also given orders for some buildings to be brought down, while the government has also brought down some of the buildings. Of course, this is a huge financial burden to the government, and it's completely unsustainable. Are we looking at a sustainable way of ensuring that those buildings that are dangerous, are brought down?
Actually, before the government comes in, the first person we advise to remove his building is the owner of the building. With his responsibility to make sure what he has constructed is safe. So that's the first line of action. And I might have reported, like in Mombasa, we have about 5 who have brought their buildings down, the owners themselves. Others, we have been pushing them in other counties, and there are some who are willing to do that. But the ones who are not ready to demolish is where the government comes in, using the county government. And sometimes when the county government want a collaboration with us, we join in, and so we are able to remove those structures that are dangerous. Yes.
I want now to hear this from Engineer Okere Makoha from the Engineers Board of Kenya. I mean, he's talking about more than 600 buildings that are supposed to be demolished. From an engineering perspective, is there anything that can be done, to avoid bringing a building down?
Definitely yes. One thing that is causing the root cause of this collapse is non-adherence or non-compliance to the statutory requirements by different players. We have developers who are not engaging professional engineers or architects or quantity surveyors. We have, so some of the practices that are happening, we have the quacks that are in the industry who are offering these services. So there's a lot of non-compliance by various sectors. So to cure this, we need to have compliance so that those ones who are approving these drawings are the only ones who are registered with the board, different boards. And we have, the developers engage these professionals so that we can have sustainability. And what the board is doing is building the capacity in terms of getting adequate number of engineers, engaging the county governments who are the approving authority, and they're working in a multi-sectoral way, because when we work in a collaborative way, then that brings an element of sustainability. The issue of collapsing of buildings, of course, is really causing a huge dent to the economy and reputation of our country. So it's something that we can actually deal with it when we address the issue of capacity, as well as adherence to the required statutory requirements that are already laid out in law.
Help us understand this. I mean, there is this a contractor, they put up a 5-story, a 7-story, or even a 10-story building. It has been declared dangerous. Is there any reprieve for them?
It is for the the safety is very, very important, as well as sustainability of these particular structures. So the first thing is to adhere to the requirements of the law and the standards. So what happens is when a building is deemed unfit, that is structurally unfit, then that building has to be brought down for the sake of public safety and welfare. And that also means that in terms of even the investment, is to save the investment in future so that it deters other people from breaking the law. If we, as a nation, encourage the rule of law so that even in terms of approvals, in terms of developing these particular investments, they are done in the right time, in the right way, then there will be no need of us, even done with the right materials and the right professionals. When we follow the rule of law, then there will be no need even to bring this collapse or to bring the building down in the first place. It's brought down because there was no adherence to the rule of law. And that's why it's very important for us to work together. The media, you play a big role in terms of highlighting the non-compliance. At the county government level, it's very important now. We have to build capacity in terms of doing the supervision and for the developers to actually engage these professionals. Yeah.
Before I let this team go, I want to hear from you, Sharago. So which counties are you planning to visit and when?
Yeah, in the next 3 months we plan to visit West Pokot County. We also want to plan to visit Siaya County and also go back to Makueni County because we went there during the COVID time and we were not able to cover most of the part because we had to leave that county. We are also planning to visit Siro County so that we can be able to work together and train the engineers in those counties on how to do inspection audit. Yes. And
so the whole plan is to ensure that all the 47 counties are covered?
Yes.
What is your time frame?
The time frame in the next 2 years we will have covered all the remaining 20 counties. Yes.
All the remaining 20 counties. Is there anything else you want us to know before I let you go?
Yeah, the one I would like the Kenyans to know is that when I write a building and it's marked as dangerous, it's good people not to go back and occupy. We've noted when we go back with the compliance with the counter check the buildings, you know people have gone back. Some in Madare, they have gone to the same buildings which can collapse at the same time. And we will not try to have the scenarios that happened in 2018 and 2016 where we had to really take out of time saving lives that were trapped in the building. So we ask the Kenyans, please, if a building has been marked as dangerous, please vacate. The same thing, if you see any cracks in any building, that's a sign that something is not right. Inform the PS Public Works, and we have a hotline which Kenyans can use to inform us of the danger or the buildings that are dangerous, which they can see. Because with your eyes, you can be able to see that building is not right when you see cracks.
Very good.
You can have the number 0726 163. I'll give that number. Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
We allow you to compose yourself, and then at some point you give us
the number.
Then we can, of course, share this number with the public.
Thank you.
Your time is highly appreciated, gentlemen and a lady.
Thank you.
Asante sana. Well, those are members of the multi-sectoral agency committee, consultative committee that is dealing with the issues of buildings in this country and how to bring and to streamline this critical sector. My name is O'Brien Kimani. You're watching us from the coast. We'll keep you posted on what's happening. But for now, the continuation of the lunchtime news is on, and we take you back to Broadcasting House.
Well, thank you so much, Brian Kimani there, joining us from Mombasa County, giving an overview of the audited buildings in the country, stating that over 20,000 buildings have been audited, with 600 ought to be demolished. Well, we shall be keeping you updated. For now, we move on where countries are calling for an effective and speedy trade dispute resolution mechanism at the World Trade Organization. Our reporter Benson Rioba, who is at the 13th World Trade Organization Conference in Abu Dhabi, now speaks to Investments, Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano for a brief about Day 3 of the forum. Let's join our reporter.
Much there from Broadcasting House. We are coming to you live from Abu Dhabi here in the UAE, where you are following up on events at the WTO, that's the World Trade Organization Ministerial Conference. Now, this particular meeting brings together ministers from across the globe to discuss matters concerning trade. Joining me now is the CS for Trade, Rebecca Miano, who will give us a brief oversight of what's happening or what we should expect, especially Kenyan producers, what they should expect from this meeting. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We are here day 3 of the World Trade Organization Ministerial Conference, and we continue with the discussions. Day 1 was opening ceremony. We had a session of 2 countries, Comoros and Timor-Leste, who joined and deposited the instruments to join the WTO. So WTO has 2 new members, bringing the membership to 166. The same day, we had several bilaterals. Yesterday, most of the discussions were on fisheries subsidies, and in the afternoon, we had discussions on agriculture. Today, the discussions are more to do with dispute settlement, and we look forward to having a robust dispute settlement, because we know an easy dispute settlement system is good for the whole world and also for Kenya. We are also continuing with the discussions on agriculture. Like I said, I am the facilitator for the discussions on agriculture. We spent the whole afternoon yesterday and evening getting views from members on the contentious issues. We are looking at the public stock holding for food and also market access. We are looking at what policies will benefit the least developed countries and also the net food importing countries. We are continuing with consensus building, because we have seen countries are having varied positions on what policies we should put in place. We know that agriculture is critical, not only for trade, but also for food security. If you look at our imports in Kenya, they are mostly agriculture-based. And that's why we are here to ensure that the policies on agriculture and trade in agriculture are favorable to our policies back at home. And we will continue with the discussions and consensus building. We believe that at the end of the ministerial conference, we will have outcomes on all the topics that we are discussing, be it agriculture, be it fisheries, be it dispute settlement, be it e-commerce, and also trade for sustainable development. Yes.
In terms of production that is in agriculture, what key policies are we looking at? What's coming up? What are the members saying about policies, especially when it comes to export and imports?
Members want to have policies, especially on import and export prohibitions. We want countries to have policies that will enable them produce enough for use by their country and also have ease of exports. And for countries that are net food importers, we want policies that will not be necessarily oppressive to them. And we know many of the least developed countries are also actually net food importers. That's why we are at the table. We have seen 2 divergent positions, those that are supportive to the policies that will support the least developed countries, but we also have seen other policies that may bring a lot of challenges to the least developed countries. We hope we will get convergence before the end of the day. And I look forward to having a good outcome. Yes.
And talk about trade tariffs. In terms, some global south countries were saying that the tariffs are high so that they can't export to developed nations. Maybe what is the consensus? What are you looking at?
We have not received a consensus yet, but we are also looking at not only tariffs, but other technical barriers to trade. And I think we will be able, by the end of tomorrow, because the conference is ending tomorrow, we will have a comprehensive outcome, because the discussions are still live and are still continuing. So I'll be able to update you on the final outcomes on all the 5-6 issues that we are discussing in the conference. But it is a very intense conference, and we are glad that we are here and playing a very active role in the discussions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
We will keep you posted on the events up here, and also will keep you posted on the resolutions that will come from here, from this particular meeting. Back to you.
Well, thank you so much, Benson Rioba, there joining us from Abu Dhabi, where the 13th World Trade Organization Conference is currently underway. We shall be keeping you updated. For now, we cross over to Homa Bay County, where the Homa Bay International Investment Conference is currently underway, entering day 2, which kicked off Tuesday, where former Defense Cabinet Secretary Eugene Omalo is currently issuing an address. Let's listen in.
They say what a man can do, a woman can do even better. We must commend our sister governors, the G7, those sisters of Gladys Wanga who are here and who are doing a great job. So we want to congratulate you and wish you well in what you're doing. Na nilete pia salamu za mama wetu Martha Wangare Karua. Mmezipokea? Tulete salamu pia za ndugu yetu Jeremiah Kioni. They would have been with us here today, but they were in Muranga. Kuna ile kesi ya kina mama walioshikwa katika ile shrine, na wako Muranga kutetea hao kina mama. So Gladys, Martha has said she wishes you well, and she wishes that the good people of Homa Bay gives you a second term. Tuseme wanga tano, wanga tano. Tunaleta pia salamu za Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta. Mumezipokea? We spoke this morning and I told him we were coming to Tom Mboya University. And he sent his greetings. But he also reminded me that his last trip to Nyanza, his last trip to Western Region, was when he signed his last charter, and he gave the charter of the great University of Tom Mboya. Prof, we wish you well as you grow this great institute in the memory of a great son of this soil. We wish you very, very well. He also came to Mbita to look at the causeway there, at the port. Nakule Western, he gave us 2 charters apart from the Tom Mboya University. Alitupa charter ya Alupe in Busia, na akatupa charter ya hapa Kaimos University. So as we are here to celebrate, we also wish you well, and may God bless the great county of Homa Bay.
Asante sana, and thank President Uhuru for us, for the charter of Tom Mboya University, which is promising to be the hub for growth in Homa Bay and the region. I'd like to ask our CCs, my CCs for Homa Bay, please stand up. This function would not have been possible without the dedicated efforts that you have made. Just rise, please. Solomon Obiero, CC for Finance, Asante. Martin Opere, CC Education. Dani Shonyango, CC Transport. Dr. Joash Alo, CC Environment. Sarah Malit, CC for Sports, Gender. The man of the moment, who is CC for Trade and Investment, Polycarpo Kombo, who is the one who was putting together this whole conference. My deputy, His Excellency Oyugi Magwanga, who is the CC also for Agriculture. Asante, asante sana. Chief officers, Roslyn Omolo, who's also there, CECM for Health. Chief officers and directors, please just rise up and wave. Just stand up. Asanteni sana. You have done a wonderful job to put together what has proven to be a very successful conference. Without you, this would not be possible. I'd like now to invite again for short minutes each my colleague governors to come and also say just a short word of encouragement to the people of Homa Bay. I'd like to begin by my immediate neighbor, His Excellency Ochilo Mbogobunayako Chielwioke Kendo Pindra. Karibu sana. Governor of Migori County. Welcome.
Well, that is Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga, where the Homa Bay Investment Conference is currently underway. It enters day 2. We shall be keeping you updated on the developments. For now, we move on to sports news, where the national sevens team to the HSBC Challenger second round in Montevideo, Uruguay, have been named. Now, the men's team Shuja have made 5 changes to the side that won the cup final at January's opening round in Dubai. Japan-based Janet Okello returns for the women's team. The Lionesses, after missing out on the opening leg in Dubai, the team depart for Uruguay this Sunday.
Dennis Abokuse and Ben Salem return to the side, where Lamek Ambetsa, Chrisan Ojuang and Elvis Olukosi are in the line for the debut in South America. Missing out are Patrick Odongo, who top score with 11 tries in Dubai. Odongo is recovering from an injury sustained during Daystar Falcons KRU Champions 39-12 victory against Kabarak University 3 weeks ago, and Brian Tanga, who is recovering from illness. Festus Shiasi, William Wanji and Brian Mutugi are not in the travelling team.
This is going to be the challenge for them now. Huge hits coming in.
Meanwhile, Okello, who replaces Diana Kemunto, is the only change to the side that finished second at the opening round in Dubai. Shuja will take on 2023 Challenger champions Tonga along with Georgia and Portugal in Pool A. Lionesses are drawn together with Belgium, Papua New Guinea and Hong Kong, China in Pool B. The teams depart for Uruguay this Sunday. Join Abuile for Lunchtime News.
City thrashed English Premier League Bournemouth 1-0 to move into FA Cup quarterfinals. In other matches, Newcastle edged past Blackburn in a penalty shootout to reach the quarterfinals. Erling Haaland scored 5 goals for Manchester City to beat Luton and reach the quarterfinals.
A superb extra-time strike from Abdul Fattah helped Championship leaders Leicester City progress past English Premier League Bournemouth into the FA Cup quarter-finals.
Oh! What a way to take the lead! Abdul Fattah with a wonder goal!
The tie finished goalless in a normal time, with both sides hitting the post alongside missing presentable chances.
In from Trippier! Oh, and somehow it stayed out!
In another match, Gordon had put Newcastle ahead in the 71st minute with a first-time finish after a bright run from substitute Miguel Almiron down to the right wing.
With Almiron looking to make an instant impact, and he has! And Anthony Gordon strokes it home. And finally we have a goal in this FA Cup.
Newcastle edged past Blackburn in a 4-3 penalty shootout to reach the quarter-finals of the FA Cup despite drawing 1-1 with Blackburn.
And it's 1-1. Blackburn Rovers are level, and who else but Sammy Smodic?
On the left-hand side now looks to the run of De Bruyne, who was too strong there.
Meanwhile, Erling Haaland scored 5 goals in a stunning display of finishing as holders. Manchester City thrashed Luton 6-2 to reach the FA Cup quarter-finals. It was the Norwegian's 8th hat-trick for the City, and he also became the first player to score 5 in a game twice for the club. Faith Akinyi for Lunchtime News.
They went man for man as well. Barkley. There's an effort from Clark.
Well, thank you so much for staying tuned here on Lunchtime News. Now, any moment from now, we're expecting to cross over to State House, where President William Ruto is hosting Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who arrived in the country on his first state visit since President William Ruto took over. Well, we shall be keeping you updated on that. Now, that brings us to the end of our bulletin this afternoon. Thank you so much for choosing Lunchtime News. For more news, check out our website at kbc.co.ke. My name is Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Lensa Odingo. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.